Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Fowl, featuring the voices of Ben Whitehead, Peter Kay, Lauren Patel, and Reese Shearsmith, directed by Nick Park and Merlin Crossingham. Now, I've never seen this movie before, as it came out on Netflix, and usually those things are a trigger for me. As you've seen in my previous reviews, you would know why. But let's see how this goes, because I have enjoyed Wallace and Gromit as short movies and the first movie as well. Let's get into this and see how this goes. We open with Wallace, voiced this time by Ben Whitehead, and Gromit catching a burglar in their house who's a penguin disguised himself as a chicken called Feathers McGraw, as he gets sent to jail in a zoo, and we get the theme song, which was always pleasant to listen to in each short movie as well as the full-length movie. While Gromit wakes up and gets Wallace downstairs by his own invention, and Wallace this time is an inventor of machines, with a breakfast of toast with jam, as Gromit likes to work on his garden along with Wallace, inventing a voice-activated robot called Norbot, voiced by Reese Shearsmith, as Wallace tells Norbot to make the garden look nice and proper instead of Norbot mowing the garden for Gromit, with Gromit being bummed, and Wallace wants to make more robot gnomes, as this robot looks like a gnome, with Norbot, and I do very much like the characters. Chief Inspector McIntosh, voiced by Peter Kay, gets a new hire named PC Mukherjee, or as I'm going to call her Mukherjee for the rest of the show, voiced by Lauren Patel, as it's her first day and she knows all about Feathers McGraw, and I honestly thought she might be a crooked cop, but she says she would love to crack a case like the jewel he robbed many years ago, and getting caught by Wallace and McIntosh, while Wallace's invention of the Norbot is on the TV, and Wallace gets interviewed as Feathers hears it on the TV from his jail cell. And he gets an idea for his vengeance against Wallace for catching him all those years ago, as he gets his chicken disguise back, and Wallace says technology is helping, while I believe it will go AI on your booty, as Norbot comes into Gromit's bedroom and charges himself while making a gargling noise, to a point Gromit puts the machine in a plug in the basement. And the gargling noises was pretty annoying, as the claymation has improved since it was first invented with Gumby back in 1953. Feathers looks up a way to get Norbot to do bad things as he hacks into Wallace's top secret files while in jail, and this character is a menace that doesn't speak, which is brilliant, as he succeeds, and Gromit wakes up the next day and has breakfast and wakes up Wallace while Norbot awakens as well, and looks like he's going to kill Gromit because of Feathers hacking into hacking, and Gromit seems suspicious about it, as Norbot called an army of himself overnight, which is clever, and we move on to Wallace watching the Norbots from the computer, and they get unleashed, as well as getting delivered to people's yards and sing their song about how they're hardworking they are, as this movie is clever like the last movie. Norbot traps Gromit with the other Norbots as they're going AI on Gromit, as the Norbots stole people's property and takes them back to the house, while McIntosh and Mukherjee take calls about a robbery led by the Norbots, as they track down to Wallace while Wallace watches the TV, and Norbot turns off the TV, as he plays the harp and gives Wallace some hot chocolate to put him out, as well as a massage, and Gromit gets out of the trap and gets back home and sees Wallace sound asleep and keeps his eyes on Norbot and sees they're up to something, and sneaks around until he gets caught and just walks out on, and Gromit tries to alert Wallace about the Norbots with water and a pat on the head, and Gromit knows something is wrong as Mukherjee and McIntosh barge in and look around for the Norbots, which is very sneaky of them. And the humor is pretty clever while Mukherjee sees some evidence on Wallace's computer system, and the plot is very original, and I don't mean that in a sarcastic way. Wallace wakes up on his own and puts his own clothes on and pours his own tea, while Gromit sees how painful it looks, as Gromit doesn't believe Wallace, and an angry mob come to his door and ask where the gnomes are, as Wallace closes the door and Gromit tries to leave, but the Norbots took out the engine to the van as Mukherjee searches around Wallace's property as Gromit stops by the police station and sees the Norbots, which are following them, and they have ascended in a car, and the other ones come towards Gromit as we learn they're underneath the sewer going to the zoo, where Feathers is held at, and Gromit realizes it, and Feathers asks one of the Norbots to saw Gromit off the tree as he sees Gromit, and I'm actually having a good time with the movie from start to finish. Gromit is encountered by a lion, and Norbot comes to his rescue as he was rebooted and is back to normal, which is a way to stop the other ones. And they escape while Feathers is playing menacing music on the piano and set up a heist to rob the blue diamond he did years ago. And Gromit sees it's being stolen by Feathers with the Norbots, while Gromit comes home with the Norbots tying up Wallace, and they capture Gromit, and Macintosh believes Wallace is a criminal mastermind. As Wallace realizes Feathers is free, and he reveals that the blue diamond, for all these years, as its vengeance most foul, in which it is, and the dialogue is very good as it's written in a way to connect with the previous movies and 20-minute shorts. Wallace sees Norbot is back to normal and leaves them behind as Gromit gets the idea to escape from the closet with Macintosh, and Mukherjee get to the house as Norbot, Wallace, and Gromit get to Feathers, and he makes a turn with Wallace, Gromit, and Norbot, and they catch up to him, and the evil Norbots throw things at them, while the good Norbot cleans up after them, as Gromit tells Wallace to reboot the other Norbots and destroy them, while Mukherjee sees Feathers, and they all get out of the water thanks to Gromit as Feathers tries to get away with, and Gromit almost dies on the ledge, and Feathers is almost successful, and the cops catch Feathers, as Wallace tells Gromit to give Feathers the blue diamond, as the gnomes caught him beforehand and catches a train to get away while Gromit falls until the Norbots get him and pull him up. And Gromit hugs Norbot as Macintosh almost gets them arrested, until he sees Feathers as the onion, while Gromit got the blue diamond away from Feathers, and Macintosh receives a happy retirement as he's retiring, and Mukherjee becomes the new sheriff in town as Macintosh becomes the boat police. And Wallace gives Gromit a pat on the head like he's been asking for this entire movie, as that's his arc, Gromit I mean. And the climax was amazing and beautiful to watch, and how much did I like the movie? Let's talk about it. And a rating. I'll give this movie a 8.0 out of 10. It's always pleasant to hear the theme song in the two movies and the 4 short movies they come out with, and I very much like the characters, as Feathers McGraw is a menacing without speaking whatsoever, and that's brilliant. And the claymation has improved since it was first invented in Gumby back in 1953. Like the last movie, this is clever as the plot is original, and I don't mean that in a sarcastic way, as this movie works as a very good family film. And this series started and ended on a high note, as this may be one of the better series I've done in my opinion, and I enjoyed myself with the movie from start to finish. This is a very good movie, as this is as very good as a movie as the last one, and the dialogue is very good as it's written in a way to connect with the previous movies as well as the 20-minute short movies. And this is a solid recommendation for this movie, as the climax was very good, as it was amazing to see the claymation being filmed like the way it was, as it was a very good movie. And I like this series better than the Chicken Run series, I'll say, even though it's the same claymation studio / director. But anyways, I would like to thank you guys for joining me for this Wallace and Gromit retrospective series. And until if we ever get another one, well done, lad.